This musical piece is Aqsaq Qulan. It was written by Ketbora, the brave hero and skilled musician. According to one legend, Zhoshy Khan's son was trampled by Qulans during a hunt. Zhoshy Khan declared that he would pour lead into the throat of anyone who breaks it death news to him. Ketbora decided to play his dombra. The sound of this tragic composition could be heard saying, "Your son has died, Zhoshy Khan." That was how Ketbora was able to convey a mournful message to the Khan. Consequently, the Khan had to pour lead into the body of the dombra that brought the news to him. Ulutau, located in the heart of the vast Kazakh steppe, holds a special place in Kazakhstan's history. In ancient times, great assemblies determining the fate of the land took place in this region. By the decree of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, in 2022, the Ulutau region was formed. The goal is to put the tourist potential, production capacities and logistical opportunities of the spiritual center of Kazakhstan to good use. Ulutau's land is the golden cradle of the Kazakh people. Here, every hill, every stone seems to tell a cautionary tale.
Ulutau топырағы алып тұлғалардың рухы тоғысқан жер. Халық бұл жерге Zhoshy Khan.
Ulutau is a place where the great personalities have left their legacies. People come here to see the mausoleums of Zhoshy Khan, Alasha Khan and Dombauyl, the Khan's residence, as well as the sacred Auliya Tau. The famous Tamerlan also set his foot on this land. The legends of Ulutau speak of how the nation was consolidated.
Today we're in Ulutau, about 70 kilometers from the city of Kazakh, which is the administrative center of this region. Now let's go to the building, which is called the mausoleum of Alasha Khan.
The renowned archaeologist Alkay Margholan writes about the mausoleum of Alasha Khan. This ancient architectural monument in central Kazakhstan was built in the pre-Mongol period. Standing on flat terrain, the premises catch attention 20 kilometers away. Scientists have not reached a consensus on the era which the mausoleum belongs to. Archaeologist Zhuman Smailov says the monument could be built in the Kara Khan period. However, having assessed the stylistic features of the mausoleum and the brick sizes, the scholar Almas Ordabayev claims that this building was erected in the 16th century. The architect-restorer Yelena Khorash confirms this hypothesis. She explains the difficulty of determining the exact time of the facility.
The monument was built using decorative techniques from different historical periods. Moreover, folk craftsmen used old materials, which complicates the analysis of the object.
In Kazakh traditions, there was no bricklaying or building erection. Later, due to the growing influence of Islam, stronger connections with southern cities, the rise of the Golden Horde, and the increased number of influential people, such as Khans and their relatives in this region, they began constructing buildings they saw in the south. This trend was acquired during the time of Tamerlan. The mausoleum of Alasha Khan is constructed from fired red bricks of various sizes. Square tiles were used for the building's finish, and large decorative tiles were used to adorn the portal and friezes.
Кірпіштердің жасалу техникасына да көптеген аңыздар бар. Мысалы, аңыз бойынша осы жерге
There are many myths about brick-making techniques. According to the legend, 5,000 mares and 3,000 sheep were brought here. When making bricks, mare's milk is added and the finish is smeared with a sheep's tail fat and then fired.
Енді осы Қаракеңгір өзенінің бойында осы Алаша хан кесенесінің кірпіштен жасаған арнайы пештер табылған.
Along the Karakengir River, special kilns were discovered where Alasha Khan mausoleum's bricks were made. Architect Georgy Gerasimov, when studying one brick, found up to 4 to 5% organic material inside. This proves the presence of a certain organic substance, even if it's not mare's milk.
Заттарды қосқаны дәлелденген екен.
Scientist Alkay Margholan, who first conducted the excavations and studied the mausoleum of Alasha Khan, also says that the fired bricks needed for the construction of these objects were made along the Kangar River. He documented that fragments of fired bricks were found at the bottom of a 20-meter diameter earthen kiln for brick firing. The mausoleum is a single-chamber structure with a dome and a portal. A spherical dome and a tall portal are common features found in monumental buildings constructed in Central Asia in the past. There is a pointed arch on the portal of the mausoleum, which is a fundamental element of the Muslim architecture. Decorative patterns on the main facade of the structure run along both sides of the arch. A deep recess at the entrance is a method typical of the Kazakh sacred monuments built in the period between the 10th and the 16th centuries. The columns on both sides of the portal were laid with bricks and plastered with alabaster by the builders of the past. All four walls of the Alasha Khan mausoleum's exterior are adorned with various triangular, square, rhombic, and fur-shaped brickwork patterns. At first glance, these well-preserved patterns resemble lattice-like folding walls of a yurt. Moreover, light-colored bricks were used here to emphasize the pattern part of the main dark burgundy-colored wall. This gives an impression of a carpet with large patterns hanging on the wall.
Кейбір заманауи тарихшылар, өлкетанушылардың айтуы бойынша, бұл яғни кесене емес, яғни кесенені қашан адам жерлегеннен кейін.
According to some modern historians, this is not a mausoleum, as mausoleums are erected after a person's death. However, this structure was built as a site for holding major events. In Ulutau, all khans were placed on white felt and inaugurated.
Жаңағы осы жерге алып келіп, ол жаңағы галерея арқылы екінші қабатқа шығып, портал жақтан
Ceremonies may have been conducted here, and the new Khan would address the people from atop the building, given an oath that he would be a good ruler. This means that this is an inauguration venue. Later, they buried some people here.
Қамау үшін, яғни жаңағы кейбір адамдарды жерленген.
Inside the mausoleum, there's an exit to the tower in the northwest corner. This path runs around the drum like a narrow corridor connecting the right and left sides of the portal. Therefore, researchers considering this feature of the mausoleum have suggested that the construction might have been intended for a ceremonial event. Now the question is which historical figure this remarkable monument in central Kazakhstan belongs to. There are different legends.
Жерленген адамны бірінші Красовский 1868 жылы тапқан кезде жай адам емес.
When in 1868 Nikolai Krasovsky found human remains, spears were found nearby with horse skulls and horse tails attached to them, indicating that it wasn't just an ordinary individual. We know that Kazakhs don't gnaw on horse skulls, which means that this grave belongs to a well-respected person.
Бір беделді бір кісі жерленгенін көрсетеді.
Alasha Khan кейін осы Qazaq.
The Alasha Khan mausoleum was erected for a Kazakh Khan of the 16th or 17th century. When talking about Alasha Khan's identity, various assumptions as to who exactly this Khan was exist. Historians often say that Qasım Khan or Khaknazar Khan could be buried here.
The area of the mausoleum is about 10 by 12 meters. The height is about 10 meters. It's not too big and not too small, but it's still bigger than the mausoleum of Zhoshy Khan, whose name and legend are widespread. If you look at the outside of the Zhoshy Khan mausoleum, it looks just like the Alasha Khan mausoleum, built to the same style, but there are some slight differences, so let's see.
The mausoleum of Zhoshy Khan is a square, domed structure with a portal made of fired red bricks. The main facade resembles a voluminous pishtak with a pointed arch. Meanwhile, below the arch, there is a deep recess facing southwest.
Alasha Khan'dan кейін барып Zhoshy Khan ескерткіштері өзінің архитектурасы жағына біріншіден ұқсаңқырайды, екіншіден
Monuments of Alasha Khan and Zhoshy Khan are similar in architecture. Moreover, such glazed tiles covering its surface as well as bricks all look alike.
Алаша хандағы, Зhoshy хандағы кірпіштердің өзінің негізгі түп кірпіштерін қарап отырсақ,
Looking at the original bricks in the mausoleums of Alasha Khan and Zhoshy Khan, we can see that there are remnants of cast metal inside.
ешкінің қылдарының барлығын көруімізге болады. Міне осының өзі.
We can also see that horse or goat hair had been used in the production of these bricks. Therefore, it can be stated that these two historical monuments dedicated to Alasha Khan and Zhoshy Khan are somewhat interconnected in terms of dating and architectural design. The arch of Zhoshy Khan's mausoleum in terms of proportions and shape is not equal to the mausoleum of Alasha Khan. It is not as even, grand and solemn. The dome of Zhoshy Khan's mausoleum is painted blue, but there is no architectural splendor here as in the mausoleum of Alasha Khan. Russian architect Georgy Gerasimov describes Zhoshy Khan's mausoleum as follows. The external dome rested on a high 17-pointed star-shaped drum on which the play of light and shadow was well emphasized. We have not encountered such examples of decorating the drum in the form of a 17-pointed star in central Kazakhstan, in the basins of the Qarakengir and Sarasu rivers. A similar drum is only found in one of the ancient monuments of southern Kazakhstan, the mausoleum of Babaja Khatun. The interior of the Zhoshy Khan mausoleum is quite simple and strict. The walls are completely smooth, without any architectural and decorative ornaments, plastered with clay and adobe mortar, and whitewashed with lime. In the practice of building mausoleums in central Kazakhstan, plaster works inside monuments are rarely encountered. Similar plaster works are found only in the monuments of the 19th and early 20th centuries.
Алтын орданың сәулетін алса, осындай түрі күмбезі.
The domes of the Golden Horde architecture are different. Here it is yurt-shaped. The dome of Zhoshy Khan's mausoleum looks like an Islamic one. The structure is small, yet high and massive.
Бәрі биіктігі, көлемі өте керемет.
Scientist Grigory Gerasimov says that the domed mausoleum made of fired brick featuring a 17-pointed drum could be dated to the era of the Karakhanids. In addition to these details, even the bricks of Zhoshy Khan's mausoleum and the mausoleum of Babaja Khatun have the same dimensions. Yet the shiny plates on the dome refute this assumption. Gerasimov concludes that the construction of the Zhoshy Khan's mausoleum took place slightly later, at the end of the 13th century. However, Gerasimov's conclusion is not necessarily accurate. This mausoleum was built 200 years after the death of Zhoshy Khan, on the site of his burial. Since the descendants are Muslims, they built the mausoleum as per the Muslim tradition. Ceramic plates cover the floor of the mausoleum. When academician Alkay Marghulan conducted excavations in 1946, he discovered two graves buried parallel to the rear wall of the mausoleum. The bones were determined to belong to a middle-aged man and a woman. Alkay Marghulan concludes that these bones belong to Zhoshy and his wife.
Zhoshy енді бұл Алтын Орда мемлекеті деп айтып тұрмыз.
The Zhoshy Khan mausoleum is an archaeological monument built in honor of Zhoshy, the founder of a large state, then known as the Ulus of Zhoshy, or Zhoshy Horde, and the eldest of Genghis Khan's sons. I think we won't be wrong to say that Zhoshy is the ancestor of Kerey and Zhanibek, who founded the Kazakh Khanate.
Қателеспейміз деп ойлаймын.
Dombauyl. This is the name of the building that looks like a yurt, a place where nomadic people used to live. Some people say that it was built in the 9th century. Some people say that it was built in the 13th and 14th centuries. So let's discover the secrets of this building together.
This building is located near the mausoleum of Zhoshy Khan. The conical dome structure is made of reddish-brown cubic stones. The building stones were transported from the Kangar River area. In the process of laying stones, clay mixed with mare's milk was used. The mausoleum resembles a yurt with the entrance facing east. The structure is 6 meters high. The walls are 2 meters thick. The interior area is 4 by 4 meters. The foundation of the facility is very high, therefore special stairs were created for entering inside. The entry point is a window-like opening. The floor of the mausoleum was covered with soil mixed with stones, and on top, flat stones were placed. The walls were erected up to 3 meters and horizontal logs were laid on top. There is no reliable data on which specific era the monument belongs to. Judging by its appearance, scientists assume that the building was constructed at a time when Islam had not yet reached Kazakh territories. Based on the architectural and archaeological research, the Dombauyl monument belongs to an early period preceding Alasha Khan and Zhoshy Khan. It could be dated to the Oghuz or Hun era. Architect-scientist Georgy Gerasimov left this assessment of the Dombauyl monument. These structures share the same characteristics, such as the simplicity of forms as well as the rigidness and stability of the main design. Such burial structures like Dombauyl in Kazakhstan were erected in the early periods of history, when construction techniques were underdeveloped due to a lack of conditions for building practices. The structure looked a bit different than it does now. It was triangular at the top with the trapezoidal base. At that time, there was a huge threshold. They say it was a place of worship for those who followed the Tengri faith. A person visiting this place will see that next to this grave there are gravestones with the symbol of the Kazakh Naiman clan. Therefore, this is the Dombauyl mentioned in the legend of Zhoshy Khan. Kazakhs called such stones mausoleums resembling yurts, dun or pillar. It is believed to be dedicated to Dombauyl, the brave Naiman hero, a loyal companion of Zhoshy Khan and a respected figure of his time.
These buildings contain history since the times of Genghis Khan. They used to be the guardians of the steppe and are now protected by the state as cultural heritage.
In Olotau, the Zhoshy Khan Historical and Cultural Complex has been created. The site includes a giant monument to Zhoshy, a nomadic tent, a hotel, and a museum. Modern technological solutions are employed in the museum to provide information about the valuable exhibits. This historical and cultural center is a hub for ethnographic tourism in our country. According to the legend, Dombauyl was a hero who, after the death of Yesugey, contributed to Genghis Khan's ascent to the throne. Keeping this in mind, Genghis Khan sent Dombauyl along with his sons Kedbogha and Kerbogha to Zhoshy when he began founding his Ulus. It is said that Kedbogha and Kerbogha were also loyal to Zhoshy Khan. When the Khan's son died, it was Kedbogha who delivered the mournful message with the Aqsaq Qulan melody and consoled the Khan. These sites in central Kazakhstan are shrouded in various legends. It is hard to identify what is a legend and what is truth. The main truth is that these architectural monuments prove that great historical events occurred on this land.